Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Ask Pops. I am your big bro War,
I'm Pops.
and we want to welcome you. And this is Chloe, and we definitely want to welcome you back to another episode of Ask Pops, man. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. First of all, just want to go ahead and remind them of the book.
Yes, the book, The Measure of a Man's Dreams Goals Reality. You can buy it on all the platforms where books are sold. Michael Oliver Hill. It's a great little book for men that's really trying to get started, trying to figure out where they want to go in their next life. Primarily for men over 50, but any man could enjoy the book. So just pick it up. Cheap book. It only costs you a lunch. You can go on Barnes and Nobles. You go Amazon, anywhere books are sold, and pick it up. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah. So definitely get you a copy of that, man. We're actually going to be talking about a couple of excerpts out of the book sometime during this episode. So I know I have to say, man, I've definitely been enjoying it. It's a quick read, and it's easy to understand, written very simply, but definitely some things that you could pick up in there, man, that definitely help out. So let's start off with hot topics, man. I guess current events. So we just got a new president.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It inaugurated or had its inauguration.
Yep.
How you feeling, man? What you thinking right now?
Well, honestly, man, when he was elected, I think I had mixed emotions.
Okay.
I was mad because he was guilty of so many things.
Yeah.
Proven guilty.
Yeah.
In the court system. But yet he still became president.
Yeah.
So the bigger picture for me is there are powers that be that will decide. I can only talk about this country.
Right.
I don't know about other places.
Right.
But there are powers that be that have already decided how they want this nation to move and maneuver. Yeah. And those things have been going on even way before we were born.
Yeah.
And it just lets us know that whoever they are, there are so many names they've been given, but whoever they are, their agenda is in place and they have an agenda for where our country is going. Now, filtering it down to normal, everyday people like us, I thought about when he was elected before and how, so many different organizations were up in arms and everybody was upset. Yeah. And I had to think about me as Michael, the person Michael. Him being in office really didn't affect me in a negative way.
Right.
It didn't come to my house.
Right.
There were a lot of policies and a lot of laws that he put in place. There were some things that he undid. But in my everyday environment, in my everyday living, I have to say that it didn't knock on my door.
Right.
Not that I agree with everything that he did.
Right.
But I have to look at it from my perspective as well as the big picture. So with him being in office again, I would say for everybody that pray and you believe in God, pray for your president. I would say pray for him because nobody is going to like everybody, regardless to who's in office, whether they black, red and yellow, black or white. Everybody precious in God's sight.
Right.
So pray for him to make right decisions. Pray for him to make the kind of decisions that is going to benefit our country worldwide, because he's still dealing with other countries on different things.
Right.
So pray that he would make decisions that don't really cost us as a country and also cost us as individuals. Now, he's already starting to do different things and sign different bills. So if it affects you personally, then I could see why you're upset, you're getting in arms. But because he is there for the next 4 years, we should actually just pray that he will be an honest president. Not sure how that's going to go again with him being convicted of so many different things. But just pray. That's the bottom line of it all, because you really can't do a whole lot. There's nothing you as a person can do. Even if you put together a group of people, it is so high up in the decisions that are being made that it's not going to really affect a whole lot. So we can, if you believe in God, we can ask God to make sure that these next 4 years is going to be a benefit and not a hindrance to our country. as far as race, as far as different organizations you're a part of and who you are, just pray that it's going to benefit you and not hurt you.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. So when it comes to, of course, we know that, there are people behind the scenes that really run the show.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, and this is kind of the interesting thing about this particular election. The first time he won, it really just felt like a popularity contest. Like, my views on politics is really, I feel like both parties are just two heads on the same dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There hasn't been really enough done, or enough leaders with the nuts to really make real change with bold ideas to where we really see a difference. But for years, as long as I've been voting, things have pretty much kind of been status quo. Mm-hmm. I am, however, optimistic because we do have new leaders coming up with new ideas that we've never heard before, or new ideas that are being brought back into the discussion that I think just with this new generation, they would be more open-minded to those newer ideas. Mm-hmm. But I have to ask this question. So when Trump first got elected, you remember he came in and was talking about draining the swamp, right? Mm-hmm. Which, when I think back on it, it's like the swamp, quote unquote, right? Or what he would call the swamp, rolled so hard coming after him, whether that was in trying to impeach him, whether that was, all the investigations and stuff that happened during and after his first term. Do you feel like he is actually favored by the powers that be?
I feel like he was chosen.
Okay.
At this particular time.
Okay.
I mean, you look at the people that he's starting to connect with, like Elon Musk and people like that, and we know that Musk has such a huge agenda of things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
And it's easy for a president to sign so many of those bills into law. I think just throughout history, there are certain men that were chosen. And if by some chance, men got in certain, or women got in certain offices that were not chosen, then you end up being assassinated. That's a big thing now in politics, and it's happened throughout history to where, again, there are, whether you believe it or not, there are powers that be that run our country and other countries, and it's been around for like centuries. I think it has some beginnings back into the Roman Catholic Church and just a whole lot of stuff. But to answer your question, I believe Trump has been chosen for this time. Okay. I think there are things that has been discussed even before he got into politics. I mean, he's a businessman. Right. He had no prior experience in politics prior to running. Right. But yet he won. Right. And just in general, people just on their job, if you have somebody who wants to come in and be a manager, and they have no managerial experience, you have enough sense to say, well, no, I don't think you have done this enough to really know what you're doing. Right. However, when you're at that level, there are ways of getting you where they need you to be. Just like they had the issue about the votes were not right, and he was talking about, I need to get so many thousands of votes. No, you're fine. I need to get so many thousands of votes from somewhere. Go find these votes. And I mean, that's on record. He said these things. And so long story short, whether he found them or not, he became president. So after the presidency the first time, he wasn't through with what needed to be done. So it had to figure out a way to get him back in there again. So they came after him with all of the allegations of things that he did in years past to try to get him convicted so he wouldn't be able to even run for presidency. They convicted him, but he still ran. Now that he's president, all of that conviction, all of those things that he's found guilty of are going to be thrown out.
So let me ask you this. So I was having this same conversation with my wife. Now, I am in no way a Trump supporter. Yeah. Right. I'm not a big fan of him as a person, the way that he's talked to, certain people publicly, different things that, we've all seen,
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody's perfect. But, I can't say that I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah.
Personally, but I don't know him personally, but what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as politically and policy-wise, I'm a little bit more of a moderate conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do have some conservative views, but I am progressive in others.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But, so we were talking this, and, I was like, well, hey, at the end of the day, what was Trump found guilty of? So my and it was found guilty of basically fraud. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fraud with the hush money payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went and broke all the charges down. It's really just a handful of charges of trying to hide hush money.
Mm-hmm.
To me, is that the worst thing in the world?
Well, you have to look at not just the charges,
Mm-hmm.
but the person that was charged.
Okay.
I'll give you a prime example.
Okay.
I'm married.
Right.
In my marriage, I have a responsibility to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
The responsibility is to love and to cherish and honor, be loyal, all of those things which helps for a good marriage.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the office of presidents, which is in our country the highest office in the land,
Mm-hmm.
it requires being truthful.
Mm-hmm.
It requires being honest. So he knew even before he ran for the office that there were things that might come back.
Right.
So he had a choice at that moment. Am I going to go ahead and address this now and be totally honest? Yeah, I mean, my bad. I did it. I'm so sorry. That was then. This is now. He had a chance to come clean before he stepped into the office.
Right. Right.
Once you step into that office, you put your hand on the Bible and you go through all these rituals of, I promise to do all of this and all of that. And so part of that is the honesty of the person.
Mm-hmm.
When he was even asked about it after being the president, he denied it.
Mm-hmm.
That was another chance for him to come clean.
Right.
And say, I know in this office I was wrong.
I did not have sexual relations.
That was another.
You know what I'm saying?
You had an opportunity, but yet still, even that particular situation,
Yeah.
he still remained president.
Right.
But he came clean only because he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
We have another situation where, and that wasn't against the law. It was
Right.
just against his wife and his
Right.
marriage.
Right.
So we have this president, the fact that he was dishonest and hush money, and he's running the country, you have to ask, what other things are you not saying you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Even to our country or against our country for your greater good or for big business greater good. So when you have that kind of deception, it automatically questions a lot of other things.
Right. Right.
So that's my dilemma right there.
Okay.
And once you're found guilty, the law is supposed to exercise whatever the law says.
Mm-hmm.
And by that being guilty, you have to be sentenced.
Mm-hmm.
In that whole process, he was found guilty, but never sentenced.
Mm-hmm.
They kept moving it out and pushing out. And again, there is nothing that's right about that.
Right.
Again, because he is the president.
Right.
If he was a businessman, you see businessmen go to prison for things like, deception and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he has always been able to sidestep all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Even all the people that were charged guilty when they actually what was it where they actually what do you call it?
I'm trying to.
When they stormed the
the Capitol building.
when they stormed the
Yeah.
Capitol building,
Right.
that was against the law.
Right.
They were actually going in to harm
Right.
the officials. They actually attacked some of the
Destruction of
policemen,
property,
destruction. All of those,
Yeah.
all of those were charges that they were found guilty.
Right.
But yet he pardoned all those charges. So all of these things are in our face
Right.
as a country.
Right.
And I find issue with that.
Right.
I just find great issue with that. And if you're able to get by all of that, what else are you doing to us that we just don't know about?
Right. So with that being said, and I like the way you put that, because I'm not saying necessarily that he didn't do anything wrong. What my concern, and I won't even say concern, but it's just, I've really lost a lot of faith in government, because there is no clean president among them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I mean, even when we go back, when you're looking at WikiLeaks, Snowden, a lot of the NSA stuff that's come out over the years, we've been continuously as a country taken advantage of and kept in the blind in a lot of ways. So I mean, it's no secret. All of these things have been fully documented.
Oh yeah, fully documented.
All out there. But it's just, I guess people are so caught up in the 30-second, the 30-second sound bites, and the latest, R. Kelly. Matter of fact, what that we never really get. So we gonna get back to R. Kelly. Not R. Kelly, but Diddy. Diddy. Yeah, we gonna get back to Diddy. But yeah. So my reason for bringing that up was just the outrage and just the outcry of Trump's this, Trump's that, Trump's this, Trump's that. When in my mind, he's no different from the rest of them.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing with me. And I think in a lot of ways, the fact of the attention and even the negative attention that Trump gets has just been a driving force in his success politically. When with the whole assassination attempt, I told my wife, I was like, hey, that's what's gonna win him the election. That won him the election, because I feel like in a lot of ways it propped him up as this anti-establishment guy. It propped him up as, hey, they're trying to get rid of me. You know what I mean?
I even think that was fixed. If you look at everything surrounding, now, the day he took the podium, even before he took the podium, there were spectators and people there. They have their phones where they were filming the guy on the roof. They even told the police, hey, there's a guy up there with a gun, with a rifle. And you can actually go back in YouTube where these innocent bystanders sees this guy on the roof. The police never did, CIA never did anything about it. That's one thing. So when he's up there giving his speech and you hear shots ring out, there was someone actually in the audience behind him that was shot and killed.
Two people that
were
shot.
They were less exposed than Trump was. Trump was up there exposed, and it just nipped his ear. After that happened, if you look at the footage, the CIA, the first thing they're supposed to do is body cover you. If you look at the Reagan when he was shot, the first thing they did, once the shots ring out, you didn't see him no more. He had officers and CIA all around him. When it came to Trump, if you go back and look at the footage, he's doing this and the CIA people holding him from waist down. And then he does this before they even get him down.
Yeah.
And the first thing they're supposed to do is get you out.
Right.
They said later they waited for him to put his shoe on at the podium before they took him out. That's not even standard CIA practice. So it's those things like that that lets you say, now, here's a sniper, professional sniper, kills 2 people and nicks his ear.
So let me say this. So first of all, when it comes to the Secret Service, I do agree with you 100%. The protocol that was taken was not by the book.
Yeah.
But when you listen to the audio, Trump was like, hey, wait a minute, let me get my shoe. And when you see, I'm watching the same video as you watching, he's telling them to hold on while he addresses the crowd. I feel like Trump is a master troller and took the greatest, he had the greatest moment in his political career at that moment. He wasn't going to waste it. You understand what I'm saying?
But
Where it's like, cause think about it. The woman that was in front of him was shorter than he was. So it's not like, and it's not a slight to women, okay? She was just short. It's just what it was. If she was shorter than him, the guys that were this way on him were kind of covering him a little bit. Now, did they get him all the way to the floor and all of that in time, how it was supposed to be done? No. But for me, I'm having a hard time, which I don't put it past anybody. But, you know, first of all, the guy was not, and you know, they're painting him out as not a trained assassin, you know, maybe not the best of shots, you know. I saw a couple interviews with a couple snipers saying, you know, any decent sniper could make that shot in their sleep, you know. But just from looking at you know, we're just having fun and just, you know, just talking.
This conversation.
But for me, it was hard to reconcile the idea of that being fake because of the death that happened behind that, you know. The fact that it did nick his ear. Anybody in their right mind, nobody in their right mind, I know I wouldn't sign up for nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you look at the inches, if it would have been
but you have a heart. Don't forget.
No, it's not. I got common doggone sense. Yeah. I'm not gonna sign up for that sort of a situation to happen in order for me to get some sort of clout, you know, or some sort of favor with people. You know, that could be your life. What if you know, the wind blew the bullet, you know, extra inch. So that's too crazy.
We can assume all of that. Yeah. The only thing we know definitely for a fact is that the CIA are trained to do certain things.
Yeah. So Secret
Service are trained to do certain things. That's how they are trained.
Right.
They can do it in their sleep.
Right.
Because that's what they're hired to do. And to be Secret Service for the president, you have to be able to walk on water. That's the president.
But they still have to obey orders. And that was something that he literally, you heard him say out of his mouth, I need to get my shoe. You heard him say that. You heard him say, wait a minute. And when he was like, fight, you know what I mean? When he put his fist up and all of that now.
And he wasn't getting his shoe then.
Yeah, I mean, that was two separate things that he said. Mm-hmm. That was extra time exposed, you know, to possible threat. And I could understand how somebody could say or view it in that way. I'm just saying, me seeing it in that aspect, I felt like it was a real attempt. You know, now the thing at the golf course, I felt like that was just some extra that he just threw in there just to make it seem, you know, whatever. But
yeah. So when we believe things that the powers that be want us to believe, then they win. Yeah. So in this situation, we just agree to disagree.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, honestly, I don't want to say I don't really care, you know.
I get it, but I totally understand.
But it's just one of those things. Well, not that I don't care that we disagree. I'm talking about as far as the situation. You know.
Yeah.
It's for me. It's fun to talk about, you know, what we seeing as opposed to what's real, which honestly we really don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, to be honest, all we know is what we see.
And see, there are some things that we have been trained as a culture to take that mentality. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you another prime example.
Sure.
Let's take medicine and the medical field.
Right.
We can do research and know what foods are good for us and what foods are not good for us. What foods are really healthy and what foods will actually give us various diseases and things like that. So because we understand, we can research that and know for a fact. If you look at what's being advertised as food on TV, like 99% of it is not healthy for you. Most of it is not real food. Right. However, the medical field allows that to take place because what happens, it keeps them in a job.
Right.
And you look at the medication, if you have a certain ailment or a certain disease, they say, this medication will heal it. But the side effects are, right. And then they go down a list of 20 things.
Right.
However, they still let that go on. And we've come to the place to where we have accepted that as being normal. So we're in a country, in a culture where they can put us to sleep as long as they're telling us they're putting us to sleep. So they're telling you this is good. You can get 2 for $2 meal.
Yeah.
For just $2.
Bring your kids down and get
you can get all of this. Now it's already proven that one particular restaurant is the cause of so many kids' obesity.
Yeah.
But yet they still have commercials. Yet the government and yet the medical field has not come on after that, because they can come have commercials right after that and say, these are the things that's in this food, or this is the way you should eat. You have very few healthy food commercials on TV because it doesn't sell. And so I say that to say that as a country, it's easy to deceive us if they just dress it up right, put the right music behind it, put the right colors behind it, because we're sensitive to colors. There are certain colors that make us believe and accept certain things, and all of that stuff is real, but we're not told that. So that's why I feel the way I feel about certain things, is because when you look at, and again, that situation with him, when you look at the whole thing that plays out, you can really, the only people that you know for a fact that didn't do their job was the Secret Service. They did not do their job because he wanted to get the point across. That, like you said, that gave him the election. So,
hey, it's a possibility. Like I say, it's
just fun.
I don't want nothing bad to happen to nobody, but at the end of the day, I don't really got.
So that's why I say, the bottom line is that we need to pray for him that he really makes good decisions. And if he makes good decisions in the 4 years, I didn't vote for him. I didn't, y'all. But I want him to do a good job as president. As he is our president, whether we want him to be or not. So if you're gonna be in office, just be a good one. We're not gonna go and agree to everything that you do, but please do things that will aid our country and aid individuals and not make their life more miserable.
So let me ask you this. So what